How do I deal with a coworker calling my partner daddy? Hi. This is very weird for me to be asking, but me and my boyfriend work in the same workplace, and recently a new girl has started and works in the same department as my boyfriend. When he came home yesterday, he was telling me how this girl kept on trying to touch his arm or waist and even saying, "Bye daddy," as she was leaving the shift. I asked him if she knew that he had a girlfriend, and he said that she does, but kept on doing it. I'm not a jealous type of person. I'm very calm with everything because I do trust my boyfriend. But I am also territorial on who I'm with, so it's normal for me to feel a type of way about this, but I get the feeling that this girl will keep calling him these names even when I'm around. My question is, how do I deal with a situation like this if talking to her and telling her to stop saying it doesn't work? Keeping in mind my goal is to stop it completely, but the way I would deal with it is not the best. What would you ladies recommend? Yeah, coming from a guy, he needs to tell her politely to stop. And if she doesn't, he needs to take it to his manager immediately. She's doing that for reasons. I've never heard of a woman calling a man she just met, daddy, without intentions. She's either got emotional damage she needs to work on, lines she is actively trying to cross, or both. This needs to be boyfriend's complaint to our. As a lady, you need to take a backseat and let your boyfriend handle this one. You will come off as the crazy girlfriend no matter what you do, because the offending girl will likely make sure you come off that way. Bring it up to our. That's sexual harassment. You don't have to deal with this. Your boyfriend has to deal with this. Establish clear boundaries so she understands he dislikes her calling him daddy. And if necessary, report it to our. Can you accept your BF's best friend used to be his FWB? Even though they said that they will never have sex again, and it's been the case for 1 year. She is bi and recently found a girlfriend. We dated, 29M30F, for 3 months, and I still find this fact uncomfortable. We decided it's a serious relationship. I never needed to handle this situation in my past relationships. Update. Thanks for all your opinions. I decided to end this relationship. Too toxic. Here are the main reasons. 1. When I tried to discuss my boundaries, such as I forming me before meeting her alone, he called me controlling and jealous. I have never asked him to cut her out, so his accusation is pure gaslighting. 2. He tried to force me to accept her by comparing me to her new girlfriend, totally okay with their friendship. 3. They spent 2 days alone in a holiday without telling me. I discovered after, and he told me that I was overreacting and should bottle up my feelings. So yes, I walked away. Nope. He needs to cut her off or you need to leave. That kind of situation will tear you apart. Super proud you got out of that relationship. I personally would not date someone who was besties with someone he put his dick in. This would be a deal-breaker, especially if it was recent. No, you cannot. A guy or girl should never accept an ex, FWB, casual hookup or love interest as a best friend. Find out this early in the relationship and nope the hell out of it. These friends enable cheating, encourage cheating, or are the shoulder to cry on when things go bad in your relationship. So hell no. There are other red flags made me realize that I prefer my mental well-being over accommodating someone's needs. Good for you. Right choice. For your mental well-being, just leave. It's obvious your opinion doesn't matter, so why stay with someone that doesn't respect your boundaries? Giving my girlfriend an ultimatum. Okay, so I am 22. Am not a super outgoing person, but try to be for my F21 girlfriend of 2 years, where I'll go out of my comfort zone to do social things with her when she invites me. She is really into going to college football games, and normally it's not an issue at all since she goes with her roommates or close friends and they do whatever. She was supposed to go to a friend's cabin today to watch the game on TV, which is fine too since I know the friends and know she'll be safe and have fun. Halfway to the cabin she turns around and heads to the city all the way across the state where the game is at. Her plan is that a guy we met one time, who frequently cheats on his girlfriend, and his friends who are in college and smoke crack gave her a free ticket to the game and want her to stay in their apartment. When I told her I was uncomfortable with this and this was the only time I've ever said no to her doing something, she basically said she didn't care and that she was going anyway. I think it's important to say if she said anything like that to me, I would 100% not do it just because she is more important to me. I gave her an ultimatum that it was either me or that trip, and she chose the trip. Was I unfair by giving her the ultimatum, or did she cross the line by going when I asked her not to? She went all the way across the state to get a ticket from a cheating guy with his crack-smoking friends to stay with them? You know how crack smokers get, right? Dude. Her fun your feelings. I'd say the ultimatum was valid in this case, and you clearly found out where her priorities are. Hanging with crackheads and you want to know if an ultimatum is too much? Have some respect for yourself. That's fair. I'd have left this girl as well. Very immature. Just cut it off, it isn't worth it. You set a boundary and she told you to get bent. Sounds like a valid reason to break up. Setting a boundary for yourself about not wanting to be in a relationship with someone who puts herself in risky situations with untrustworthy people is fine. My boyfriend, 31M, told me his roommate, 31F, doesn't want me, 25F, over the house too much. Update. For clarification, it's a house that is split up and down, not like a standard duplex. So sorry if that confused anyone. Anytime I am over there it's because he has asked me to be. So I asked him how this conversation came to be and he said she brought it up. He said he has had conversations like this in his life with other roommates when relationships start and significant others come around often, so it was nothing personal, just standard roommate conversation. Understandable. I asked him if utilities went up since I've been coming around. He said no. I asked if he wanted me to start paying rent. He said, no, that doesn't make any sense. He said roommate had brought it up but then later apologized and expressed she was going through an emotional moment and having a hard time. I suggested we limit the amount I spend the night and he said no. I expressed that I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable and it made me uncomfortable. He said she apologized and has moments where she is like that. I asked why he brought it up to me and his response was that the conversation with his roommate made him uncomfortable and he didn't want any drama because this past week I did spend more time than usual considering it was the holiday week and we both didn't have work. He said it didn't make sense for him to think that way and she was in his head a bit even though she did already apologize. Anyways, the conversation ended with him telling me not to worry about her or rent or anything and if anything comes up, he'll take care of it. He then asked what I wanted from the grocery store so I can have stuff when I'm there. I do personally plan to let this breathe for a little while. For those asking why I didn't just have a conversation with him at first, I genuinely did not know where to start or what questions I needed to be asking, and a lot of people here have helped with that. I have lived on my own, so I wasn't getting the whole roommate respect dynamic. Of course, over time as we build our lives together there will be more conversations about boundaries. I also plan to distance myself from her a bit as others have suggested. Thanks. Hello. So I am still trying to process this and figure out what to do with this information and needed to talk to an unbiased crowd. My boyfriend, 31M, and I, 25F, have been dating for about a year. He has a roommate, 31F, and they are best friends. Now before anyone starts, there is no jealousy here. I thought the roommate and I have gotten along pretty well. I make sure to go out of my way to be kind to her and make sure she's involved in all activities because my boyfriend is actually her only family. All her relatives have passed and no siblings. So they are roommates but not in the traditional way. It's more of a duplex. Separate entrance, separate kitchen, separate living room, separate driveway, separate porch, separate washer and dryer, separate everything. Not on the same floor. Well, my boyfriend mentioned in passing that him and her had a conversation about me coming over often and at what point do I start paying rent. This kind of threw me off a little bit. I spend the night a maximum of 3 nights, usually weekends. I didn't respond when he said this because I didn't quite know how to feel. But the more I thought about it, it honestly hurt me because it feels a bit passive-aggressive and honestly I feel there are more underlying elements. I believe roommate is emotionally dependent on my boyfriend. They met in grief group years ago. And I feel like she feels I am taking him away. Every time him and I are doing a family function, she is suddenly sick or in the emergency room. I should have asked more questions about how that conversation even came up, but I couldn't form my words right at the time because it shocked me a bit. This is his best friend and I don't want to discredit that, but I am starting to get uncomfortable and I definitely don't feel comfortable spending the night again, especially if it's bothering her so much she brought it up. I don't like the whole women competing for attention thing, and boyfriend having a female best friend doesn't bother me, but this seems like it's turning stereotypical. Too long did not read. BF's female roommate doesn't want me to come to the house so often even though it's physically impossible for us to pass each other in the house. How do I move forward with this information? Whose side is your boyfriend on? Like, why did he mention it? That's odd since they really aren't roommates in the traditional sense. Woman shrugging. You are saying they don't share common areas? Are the utility bills combined? I think the sooner you get out the less time you'll have wasted. I don't see his best friend ever giving up control. He certainly doesn't seem like he's going to put up any boundaries to her behavior and actually appears to agree with her. So you have to ask yourself if you want to waste any more of your life trying to figure out what their problems are. Especially since you can't really do anything about it. Only they can.